and surrounded by forests and rivers, in a time when survival demanded violence and mercy was weakness. His mother named him Nick Klaus. His father, Mikael, never truly saw him as a son. From childhood, Klaus understood that love in his household was conditional, and pain was instruction. Mikael trained his sons with fists and blades, but Klaus received more blows than the others. He cried too easily. He drew instead of hunted. Every flinch, every tear, was a weakness that earned him another strike. Esther, his mother, watched and said nothing. She knew the truth she could not speak. Klaus was not Mikael's son. His real father was Ansel, a werewolf, and the blood in Klaus's veins carried a curse that would awaken with his first kill. Esther feared Mikael's rage more than she feared Klaus's suffering. Silence became her protection, and Klaus paid for it with his childhood. As a young man, Klaus accidentally killed during a violent confrontation. The act awakened the werewolf curse inside him. Before consequences could follow, tragedy struck the family. Henrik, the youngest son, was killed by werewolves. The loss shattered Esther's mind. She refused to lose another child. That night, Esther performed a spell no witch had dared attempt. She bound immortality to her children using dark magic, the blood of a doppelganger, and the power of the white oak tree. Klaus, Elijah, Rebecca, Finn, and Cole died as humans and awakened as the first vampires. Mikael was turned as well, but Esther twisted his nature so he would crave vampire blood instead of human blood, condemning him to eternal rage. When Klaus made his first kill as a vampire, the wolf within him surged. Esther panicked, believing Klaus to be an abomination. She suppressed his werewolf side with another spell, sealing it completely. Mikael discovered the truth of Klaus's parentage soon after. The man who had beaten him as a child now hunted him as a mistake that should never have lived. The Mikaelsons fled across centuries and continents. Klaus fed without restraint, hunger consumed, and violently, he bit deeply, holding victims as their strength drained, often killing them even when he did not need to. Blood soothed his fear and silenced the child who still wanted approval. Klaus learned that terror kept people close when love failed. He compelled humans to forget, to serve, to betray one another. He turned vampires and destroyed them when they disappointed him. When his siblings opposed him, he daggered them, magically paralyzing them and sealing them in coffins, awake but unable to move, sometimes for centuries. Klaus told himself it was protection. In truth, it was fear of being left alone. In the late 15th century, Klaus met Katerina Petrova. She was human, frightened, and young. Klaus courted her with charm and gentleness, hiding his true purpose. He needed her blood to break the curse suppressing his werewolf side. When Katerina discovered the truth, she fled and turned herself into a vampire. Klaus responded by slaughtering her entire family. He wanted her to live knowing escape at a price. She spent the next 500 years running. The world would know her as Catherine Pierce. But every step she took was shaped by Klaus's shadow. Centuries passed. Klaus experimented with rituals, witches, and sacrifices. His name spread faster than he did. Vampires abandoned cities when they heard he was near. Witches hid their grimoires. Werewolves scattered. Klaus did not need to hunt constantly. Fear did the work for him. In the modern era, Klaus learned of another doppelganger, Eleanor Gilbert. He manipulated events from afar, orchestrating deaths, alliances, and betrayals to prepare the ritual. He sacrificed humans and vampires without hesitation. When the curse finally broke, Klaus became what he had always been denied: the world's first true hybrid. Power followed, but peace did not. Klaus attempted to create more hybrids. Most failed. Esther, fearing Klaus's growing power, attempted to destroy him, but Klaus, ruthless and cunning, acted first. He killed his mother to survive. Klaus bit her and killed her to survive. A single act that sealed his fate as the ruthless hybrid we know. From that moment on, he was a creature hunted by his own father and feared by the world. Mikael, enraged by the death of his wife and obsessed with punishing Klaus, pursued him across centuries, driven by vengeance and hatred. Mikael was finally killed by Klaus after a brutal confrontation, ending the last threat of his father. Power followed, but peace did not. Klaus attempted to create more hybrids. Most failed. Those who lived were ruled through fear. Klaus killed disobedience publicly. His bite, lethal to vampires, became his favorite punishment. He often watched victims suffer before deciding whether they deserved the cure's blood. Despite his cruelty, Klaus remained bound to his family. Elijah believed Klaus could still be redeemed. Rebecca loved him and hated him in equal measure. Klaus sabotaged her happiness repeatedly, especially when it threatened to take her away from him. Love, to Klaus, always felt like abandonment waiting to happen. Klaus formed an attachment to Caroline Forbes. She was one of the few who saw him clearly and refused to excuse his violence. Klaus loved her, but he could not change enough to keep her. Some things even immortality could not fix. When Klaus learned he had a daughter, hope, something inside him broke open. She was everything he was told she should not be. Hope's mother was Haley Marshall, a werewolf who had fled the original's dangerous world but was drawn back into Klaus's orbit. Their bond, fragile yet powerful, led to her pregnancy. Klaus, despite his cruelty, vowed to protect Hope as the one piece of innocence he had ever created. He tried to isolate himself from enemies he had made over 1,000 years. But the past never forgets. The Hollow, an ancient dark force, threatened to consume Hope through Klaus. Klaus made the decision he had avoided his entire life. Instead of running or killing his way out, he chose sacrifice. He absorbed the darkness into himself, knowing it would end him. In his final moments, Klaus stood beside Elijah. They chose death together, ending their line and the terror attached to it. Klaus died by white oak, the same magic that had created him. Nick Klaus Mikaelson died not redeemed, not forgiven, but responsible. He left behind a world that would remember him as a monster and a daughter who would never have to live as one. And that was his life, from the abused boy who wanted to be loved, to the immortal who ruled through fear, to the father who finally chose to end the violence he began. Thanks for watching.